You can hear me, right? Stanley, coach.
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
All right, cool. I wasn't
Can
sure,
you hear
man.
me?
Yep, all good, all good. Congratulations, good game. 20 was that 28 to nothing was the final.
Yeah, 28-0 was the final.
Go ahead. Hello.
1 second.
Yep.
I'm trying to go where I can hear you.
All right, no problem. While we wait for Coach Dunbar to come back, I think I got some scores here. West
All right, I'm
Warwick.
good. I'm
All
good.
right, Coach Dunbar here after the big Barrington game. You shake off classical, you get ready for the next week, and it looks like it went very well for you. 28 to nothing.
hmm Yeah, man.
Was
The kids did a great job of responding all week. They had a great week of practice. I think it starts there. We had a great week of preparation leading up to the game. The kids were hungry to get a W after the classical game. We dominated all three phases: offense, defense, special teams. So it was a complete team effort. Great game by the kids.
and I seen your I was watching the live stream. And I seen your coaching staff always hyped up. We always talk about Najee. You got a great quarterback coach in Danny Miranda. We haven't really talked about him. What does Danny bring to the team?
Danny's a great coach, man. He's more than just a coach. He's a mentor to Lance. They have a relationship that kind of, I think, goes beyond the field, but they just connected. And Danny played the quarterback position, and he's just been a great quarterback mentor for Lance, helping him to understand the position, helping him to understand coverages and things of that nature. So we have a great staff. We have great coaches all across the board.
Yeah, Coach Ronnie Spizzato. Really passionate guy. Been there a couple years. Danny's been around a couple years. And that's why I mentioned Danny. Because I noticed he has been a mentor to Lance all season long, and to many other kids look up to Danny Miranda.
He's a great kid. Played the position. Obviously, he's been around for on the staff for a while, even before I got here. So there's some familiarity with him, and yeah, he's a great coach.
Coach, with Central Falls opting out for the rest of the season now, how important is it the next couple of weeks to keep your kids healthy with the whole COVID stuff coming up in the playoffs?
I mean, all you can do is follow the guidelines. I'm not sure how else you can keep them healthy besides wearing masks when you're indoors. We do a good job of that. Every time they're in the locker room, they have to wear a mask. In the weight room, anything we do inside, they have to have the mask on. So just following the guidelines.
Now you're playing West Warwick next week at home. West Warwick gets a big victory this week. They beat Lincoln 35-7. Congratulations, Coach Pennington. And that'll be your final game of this. Is that your final game?
That's the final game of the regular season.
Wow, it went by so fast. But Coach, good luck. Get ready for the upcoming week. Any last words?
No, sir. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Anytime. All right, Coach Stnley Dunbar. We're gonna congratulate to him and Emerson Kilgore. Man, Emerson, I missed your call earlier. My apologies. How you
Well,
doing?
I'm doing well, doing well. You're a busy man. Don't worry about it.
That's right. You was officiating the Cumberland Cranston West game. I seen you out there on the field, standing tough behind the line. Got your eyes out like an eagle.
Yeah, it was Cumberland. Cumberland had a good game today. It was 33-6 final score. Definitely did a good job out there. Cranston West, I got to hand it to them regardless of the loss. They kept fighting. They kept pushing. So much respect to both of them teams, but Cumberland was definitely the better team this day.
There was a lot of good games, a lot of must wins. Cumberland definitely had a must win to keep them relevant. We'll have to wait to see the rest of the games to see how the seeding is going to shape up. How about Mount Pleasant giving St. Ray's a run for their money? St. Ray's pulling that victory out 21-14. I think a lot of people are shocked by that. And Coach Pennington said, our kids said, we could have competed with them. And Coach said, well, sometimes when you get off the bus and you're already defeated, it's really tough to win a game.
Agreed. To be honest with you, I mean, again, shout out to both of them teams, giving it their all there. But honestly, it sounds cliche, but it's true. In any given game day, I'll put it like that. No one's immune. Mount Pleasant's always been a tough team, and they gave them a good game, and I'm glad to hear that. I mean, they're I know the former coach is now Brown, but I know Coach Addison over there is doing a good job with them. And honestly, it's give them props. They took St. Ray's all the way to the end there, so that's good.
Now, Emerson, we have one more week left. There's one last game to the regular season. This season went by. I wouldn't say it went by. I mean, last year was a quick season, 5 games in the springtime, but the season's over another week, and then we start playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, time flies when you're having fun,
No, it sure does. And I asked Coach Dunbar, coming into these next couple of weeks, how important is it going to be to keep guys healthy and stuff? And he said, I can only do what I can do, follow the guidelines, what more can you do that? He said, I have to worry about coaching.
Right. I mean, I think the main thing for all these teams that are going to be in the playoffs is that they have to finish strong. Keeping kids healthy, being smart with playing time. Obviously you're looking forward to the playoffs. And, that definitely has to be a factor. But, yeah, I mean, above all, you can't overlook opponents, regardless of who you're playing this last week. That's when people get upset, and it's happened, as most folks know, over the years when people overlook a team and all of a sudden, that team you overlooked is all of a sudden up by 7 and you got a minute to go, when you're trying to go down the field. So I'm not saying any of the coaches are doing that, but that has to be the mentality from this point forward is, not overlooking opponents, keeping guys healthy and really making that final push until you get to the playoffs. And then, it's win or go home.
No, it really is. I noticed Mount Hope took a loss to Moses Brown. I don't have the score in front of me. And that hurts Moses Brown right now. And it hurts Mount Hope, and it might put Moses Brown in the driver's seat for a playoff spot. Or it might have been Mount Hope and Rogers. Wait a minute. Let me see. Hang on. No, it was Mount Hope, Moses Brown over Mount Hope. I don't have the actual score in front of me, but I know Moses Brown won. A lot of teams might get knocked out of the playoffs. PCD won today. Big game. Some good games tomorrow. Pilgrim. Coach Blake be out there tomorrow playing his game. The Middletown Charahoe game got canceled, and I know Middletown had a COVID issue. They really wanted to play Charahoe, because these seedings, and what people are not realizing is that with this COVID situation that's going on and teams not playing, it takes away wins for that opponent. You look at North Smithfield could have very easily beat Central Falls. Middletown, they had a chance to beat Charahoe. Now they don't get that W. North Smithfield don't get that W. So does Narragansett get the bye, or does Central Falls come back for that playoff game and get beat by 50?
I mean, again, we've been, very, very critical of the no contests and, things like that. And again, we're starting to see the residuals of this now. Like, this is something that unfortunately was not thought of here. And again, I have a whole issue with the whole COVID thing. I was just actually talking about this at the game with a couple of coaches here. And it's like what they do in other states. And it's like, if one kid gets COVID, that one kid that quarantines, not the whole team. Obviously you get checked and everything else. Once those tests come back, positive or negative, then you handle your business. But I just think this whole thing with COVID has been handled poorly here, and unfortunately, it is going to affect playoffs. It's going to affect certain teams. So it's unfortunate how it was. Again, I'm all about safety. Don't get me wrong. I definitely want players, coaches, officials, everyone involved with the game to be safe. But the safety, and then there's the integrity of the game and how the game is played and how the game is, how the game is done. And unfortunately, that really wasn't looked upon here. So, I hope this doesn't screw anyone in the long run. I have a funny feeling it might be. It might, but, we'll just wait and see here.
No, yeah, we've been talking about it all year. And yes, we've been very critical on this show. We've been critical with Uncle Felix. He's been very critical. And, Felix basically said this is an indictment of the league, them rushing to change things at the last minute, on 3 games before a playoff comes. So hopefully they'll change the no contest rule, but I don't see them budging to change this rule. But we're going to have to keep an eye out and see what happens. And if I could say something about the COVID test as well, my daughter had to have a test to go back to school, and it's almost an act of Congress to get these tests scheduled. Your medical number, this and that. So it's not easy to just bring these kids. It's not like you can say, okay, we're going to go and get a test. No, you got to call up. You got to do all these things, jump through all these hoops just to get an appointment. So your hands are tied.
Right. Again, obviously safety first, but, it does take a toll, but again, I really hope they can, they can look at this and okay, we messed this up here. Let's make this up. Again, I just don't want any of these teams to get screwed in the playoffs, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen. But, if it does, it's very unfortunate. And, there's no one to blame but then classically when it comes to this. Like, this is just not – other states are doing this differently, and they're doing it much better than we are. And to be honest with you, you get a little tired of – Rhode Island always being that state that's, last to do something or last in the rankings or stuff like this. Like this was something that could have been controlled by the people who could have controlled it. And unfortunately, they didn't do a good job. And
they came out last year. We had 5-game model. Oh, we're going to use this model so we can work out the kinks going into this season that we're in now. And it seems like they didn't work out the kinks.
Right. And not only that, I mean, to be completely honest with you, we should have had a fall season last year. Our numbers were some of the lowest in the country. And, I'm not going to get into politics here. That's not what I'm trying to get involved in. But we had some of the lowest numbers in this country. And there were states that had much higher that played. And just to touch upon that just a little bit, it doesn't matter if it was a Democratic or Republican governor in the situation. So there were definitely some Democratic governors that were that gave football the green light. So, and their numbers were definitely a little bit higher than ours. So I don't know what happened there. I think that was a gross miscarriage of justice when it came to, working with these kids and getting them ready. Yes, I know. Yes, we had the spring season and, teams only played 2 games and 3 games and this and that. That wasn't okay. And then for this to happen this season after what happened during the spring, it really, we need to reexamine, who we're calling leaders and what they're doing. It's just not happening. There needs to be, a reckoning going on here with this. And again, I hope they make the right decisions. They can still make this right if they do the playoffs the right way. The teams that I feel, or others feel that should be in, they should open up the playoff brackets here and let, other teams in and stuff like that. And just let these kids play. That's what needs to happen right now. So, but who knows what's going to happen? I'm hoping and praying for the best here, but I can only go by, examples that have been given to us over the past, year or so here. And it's just not looking good right now.
All right, some scores before you go that I do have. Wesley over Barrington, 28-0. West Warwick and Lincoln. West Warwick beats Lincoln. Homecoming West Warwick is a very good game, 35-7. Their quarterback had a tight back. He still went out there and showed up. West Warwick definitely has some good players, and I think in the next 2 or 3 seasons, I'm not saying it's going to take 3 seasons, you're going to see West Warwick be a serious contender in Division II, Emerson.
Absolutely. I mean, Coach Pennington at the helm. I mean, that's what you expect from a guy like him. You know what he did in North Smithfield, and again, not to, obviously that is in the past, but honestly, he's a great coach. He's a great guy, great Christian man and a great coach. And honestly, he's the right guy for that job. I mean, and I've honestly talked about this with other people. Everyone remembers, and especially in my day, that West Warwick was always a football power in the state. I do believe with Coach Pennington, at the head coach, that those days will be coming back. Obviously, he has work to do, and he's the right man to do it. But I can see that in the next, couple of years, him really getting that job done.
They've been there for decades. Coach Pennington actually says one of the questions at the job interview, he said, he said, this was the hardest question that I've had for a head coach interview. And he said, Mr. Green said, what was the score of the last Coventry-West Warwick Thanksgiving Day game? And because, that rivalry is big, and they've been going back and forth. And Coach Pennington actually got it right. I don't know what the answer was, but what a crazy question, though. But I think, and that goes to tell you of the legacy they have over there at West Warwick High School. They have legends that went through that program. Coach Maz, the Owls family, so many great people, and West Warwick was a powerhouse for decades.
Yeah. I mean, they were, I know they had won, in my time, I believe they won the Super Bowl twice, and then was in the Super Bowl. They had lost one year. I believe they lost to Warwick Vets my junior year, I believe. And then I don't really know what happened in my senior year, but they've always been in, and that was back in the day when it was just, one place two. There was no playoffs back then. So they were always one of the better teams. And, like I said, before, I really think that Coach Pennington's going to be that guy that brings them back to that.
Yeah, Mount Pleasant actually has the pre-Super Bowl era. I think Mount Pleasant holds the record for the most state championships. Since you brought up, going way back, and then they changed it to Super Bowls, and I think now Keith Croft holds that record. But West Warwick and I think Burrillville has the most championships in state history.
I might have to look that up with the Private Gridiron Club. I know they have those records there, so we'll have to check that out. I know Rogers, they definitely have a few. They definitely have a couple of championships. I think I know LaSalle, they've definitely had some in their day as well. So, but yeah, no, I mean, bottom line is that West Warwick is definitely, they're definitely, primed to get that back, especially now with Coach Pennington as being a head coach. I mean, I think, he's going to do a really good job there. He's already doing a good job there, and it's just going to get better and better each year.
Yeah, I love a lot of things that Coach Pennington does. I like what he did over there when he was in North Smithfield. But you can actually go on. I think RIL has a link on there, and they actually have all the sports in Rhode Island, all the sports championships, which is pretty cool. Who does it now? Mr. Coleman. I think he's involved in basketball. Maybe up at North Smithfield, he's the basketball coach. I can't think of his first name, but you could definitely go over there, and they have all the football history. It's actually a pretty good trip to to see what happened in football's past, because Rhode Island, we lack. Here it is: Burrillville 24 state titles, West Warwick 22, Hendricken 18, Cranston East 16, and LaSalle 16. That's the top 5.
Okay.
For Rhode Island football state championships. Burrillville and West Warwick, always had a great. Burrillville just has a great sports program in general. They have a good heritage up there, good history up there for sports. But Emerson, I know you got a game tomorrow. Thank you. Congratulations to all the teams that won today, and even the teams that couldn't pull out the W today. You got another week to go. So, Emerson, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mike. Have a good one.
All right, bye-bye. Well, that was Emerson Kilgore. You can find him at 401 Strength and Fitness over there in Warwick, Rhode Island. Emerson does a good job. You're looking to get recruited, do it with someone that's done it before. And thank you to Mark Reichel, a banker, a presidential award winner. Support youth football for sure. And don't forget Tuesday nights, Voice Sports is on. Wayne brings his team along, and they just dive into a lot of topics that sometimes you don't really hit. Thursday nights, we got Rhode Island ranked top 3 predictions with Uncle Felix. I don't have all the scores with me today, but I have St. Ray's over Mount Pleasant 21-14. West Warwick over Lincoln 35-7. Westerly over Barrington 28-0. I know Portsmouth beat. The last score I have on Portsmouth Woonsocket was 48-8. There's the Barrington one. Oh, for you Connecticut football people, Stonington falls to Leggett 14-13. I did not I did not see that coming. Tomorrow, Coventry and Classical, good matchup. That's going to be 12 p.m. game. Pilgrim and Johnston, another good game. EWG in a must-win situation with Tiverton. We'll talk a lot more about a lot of this stuff tomorrow. I know Central Falls is done for the season. It started off with North Smithfield Central Falls being canceled. Central Falls has a positive COVID case, and I guess they have a 10-day quarantine policy that they have to follow. And by the time they get back to the 10 days, it'll be October 29th, which brings them to the Pilgrim game, which gives them no time for training, no time, for practice. So that's not going to work. So Central Falls' next game is actually November 24th at 6:30 p.m. That's going to be right around their Thanksgiving Day game. That is their Thanksgiving Day game with Lincoln. Lincoln falling big time to West Warwick today. Let me check. I got some other scores. Let me see. I know, 34-12, Pontiac was winning the game at 5:42. So Pontiac was up in their game today. Let me see if any other scores that came in. I know I had some. Where's Cliff? Here we go. Let's see. Oh, it was 42-6. PCD over Scituate. I know at halftime PCD was up 28-0. I think Scituate will get it together. They're a young team, young staff. They're building. Not worried about it. Portsmouth ended up beating Woonsocket. Westerly beats Barrington 28-0. Pontiac ends up beating number 3 Davies. Let's see how, some of these wins and some of these teams opting out, like the North Smithfield Central Falls. Like, I think North Smithfield could have beat Central Falls. Pilgrim could have used that W next week, when Central Falls would have went and played Pilgrim. Now, I'm sure Coach Blake is trying to, figure out if he could schedule maybe some kind of scrimmage or something, but that's going to be tough heading into week 8 of the regular season, or their last week of the year, the last game of the year. I know there are still some games to be scheduled, but I'll definitely have to figure out the playoff race now because a lot of things switch up. Woonsocket taking a loss, Central and EG still remains to be done Monday night. I know NK got the victory today. I want to say NK played Burrville, if I'm not mistaken. I would actually have to look on the list, which is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Juanita Sanchez beats Scituate. EG versus Central Knights. You'll have that game tomorrow. I think that's about it. I tried to cover everything, even though I got a pounding headache, feeling horrible today. But thank you, everybody, and We'll definitely have more for you tomorrow.